All right, good morning, everyone, and welcome to the first concurrent session of the day, Mathematics Software in the Classroom. Our presenter today is Austin Swack of Hawks Learning. Now, if you have any questions at all for the presenter during the session, please feel free to put those in the Q&A section at the bottom of the Zoom room screen, and we'll be able to address all the questions at the end of the talk. We're also going to be giving away 3 $25 Amazon gift cards at the end of the session. To enter for a chance to win, please click the link in the chat, and you'll be able to enter your name onto the prize wheel. And on that note, I'm going to go ahead and hand it over to Austin.
Thank you, Shriver, and thank you, attendees. Happy St. Patrick's Day. I am thrilled that you have decided to spend part of your day with me. My goal today is for you to come away from this session with an understanding of who we are here at Hawks, our course offerings in the mathematics discipline, how we approach the lesson cycle through the eyes of the student, and finally, how data and analytics on the back end can help inform your instruction. We'll leave a little bit of time at the end for Q&A, but throughout the entire session, feel free to use that Q&A button at the bottom to ask questions. First, who are we? These are the core pillars that guide us and are at the heart of what we do here at Hawks. First is service. What does that look like? From 8 a.m. to 9 p.m. Eastern, Monday through Friday, both you and your students are going to have access to a phone number that will get you a live person in 4 rings or fewer. Any other time, or if you prefer, we also have a 24/7 live chat. Again, you will get a live human being. Average response time is under a minute. And we also have a team of dedicated training and support representatives who are ready to help get you set up and provide free and unlimited support and training throughout the entire time you use Hawks. I speak to a lot of instructors and I hear all the time that we're stretched really thin and we have to wear the IT help desk hat in addition to everything else that we're asked to do. Our service means that that is just one more thing that you don't have to worry about, so you can focus your time on what's important, the students. Our second priority is affordability. If you've watched the news, you've seen all the news about student loans. Cost of education are at the forefront of people's minds. We offer a variety of different purchasing models so that you can have the flexibility to choose what works best for your institution and your students. We also have lifetime access to our materials, meaning if a student enrolls in your class and gets told that they have to take another class at that time, or just decides to take it another semester, or even just wants to review the materials when they're in future courses, they'll still have access to our learning materials and our approach. Our third priority is adaptability. We know that there is no such thing as 2 classes that need the exact same structure. And we know that there are no such thing as 2 instructors that have the exact same instructional style. That's why we have developed our courseware with flexibility and adaptability in mind, meaning that you can use the approach that works best for you and your students and use our materials to best support your student learning outcomes. And finally, mastery. Everything that we have done has been designed with mastery-based pedagogy and competency-based education principles in mind. I'm really excited to show you how that works. But first, some feedback. We get feedback from instructors and students all the time, and I wanted to share some with you this morning. First, from an instructor. The motivational approach to Hawks is real. I work with a lot of students who come from the inner city with the mindset that they're not good at math. I teach statistics with Hawks and have seen this mindset shift among students in stats classes. Students come in and have support and learn and practice, and then the adaptive components of Certify give custom questions for students to work through to be successful. Knowing if they spend time on these concepts, students will reach mastery and get full credit for homework, prompting them to continue to put in the work for success. I have seen more students pass my classes in the years I've done stats with Hawks. And I think that this quote speaks not just to the quality of the content, but the integrity and efficacy of the pedagogical approach we take through our 3-mode learning path: learn, practice, certify. More on that later. For some student feedback, a student from the University of Nevada, Las Vegas tells us, The practice tab really helps me sharpen my skills if I'm still unsure on what I'm currently learning. If I come out of class asking myself what just happened, I know I can go to the practice tab. Or if I understand everything, I still use the practice tab to know what type of problems to expect to be able to certify. I think this speaks to the adaptability of the courseware, not just from the perspective of the instructor setting up their course, but from the perspective of the student determining what support they need in order to be successful. A student from Ohio University tells us, this is the easiest platform that I've worked on. It's super easy to input your answers and gives very clear and helpful feedback if incorrect. It doesn't just say you're wrong and move on. You get a detailed reason why and the correct answer. The learning part is really easy to follow and take notes on. And I think that quote speaks for itself. Speaking of the adaptability in our purchasing models, just wanted to outline some of the few purchasing models we offer. And you'll notice with all of them, we offer access to the course content on the first day. Cannot tell you the number of times I've heard instructors come to us with struggles of my students have to go to the bookstore. They might get the right access code. They might get the wrong access code. And we're spending 2 weeks out of a 16-week course getting access figured out, which is a gigantic hurdle to student success. That's why we have LMS integration with Canvas, Blackboard, D2L, Brightspace, Moodle to help with that single sign-on so that students can access the course materials from the very first day of class. And of course, with inclusive access, those course materials are included in students' tuition. So it's out of, they have the peace of mind that they will have everything. It's out of their worry for them. Looking at our mathematics course offerings in the developmental level, regardless of the structure of your curriculum at the developmental level, we have materials that are flexible and adaptable to fit your needs, both in single course formats and multi-course formats, meaning that your students can take advantage of our lifetime access. So they buy one set of course materials at the beginning of the developmental sequence, and they use it for however long they're in that sequence, however many courses that takes place over. Many states are starting to move to a co-requisite model where the math courses that they're in correspond to their major, with the 3 main pathways being stats, STEM, and QR. This graphic comes from Complete College America. If you're a part of this initiative, we have the materials designed exactly for a co-requisite application. Each of these titles provides students with just-in-time remedial content that's meant to prepare students for their pathway and that credit level content that they're going to see. Speaking of the credit level content, in the statistics pathway, we have sets of materials. In STEM, from the college algebra level up through calculus sequence 1, 2, and 3. We have materials for quantitative reasoning or liberal arts math. And then for those of you who are also teaching in the business math side, we have mathematics with applications in business and social science, a statistics title meant expressly for business applications. And if you had a keen eye, you probably have seen this essential calculus book happen twice. We see it applied for brief calculus classes as well as business calculus. It's a very diverse set of courses that this title can serve. Our materials also include chapter projects, which are a PDF resource that allows you to really answer that question, why is this relevant? Why is this important? And tries to make the content applicable to students' actual lives, talking about home prices, budget, the trigonometric applications actually talks about some orbital mechanics. So it's a cool application that is sometimes hard to get out there. We have a guided notebook resource for many of our materials that emphasizes the importance of writing mathematics and taking notes. It structures the note-taking process and gives students a single resource to reference when they're studying for quizzes or tests. I know when I was in school, my professors would just turn their backs to the chalkboard, write for 50 minutes, and it was up to me to determine what to write down. And students these days either write down nothing or write down everything, both of which is really difficult when it comes time to review for tests. So these guided notebooks allow students to fill in the blank and guide them through the note-taking process. There's even a couple features. One of them is making connections, which takes that co-requisite level content and connects it to what they'll be looking at in the credit level section. And we also have a math at work section in many of the guided notebooks, which takes the skills and content that students are working on in the class and applies them to professions. And then the co-requisite and many of the developmental titles include a chapter 0, which has mathematics strategies for academic success. These soft skills often don't get talked about in classes, and students don't have the opportunity to really think about how to read a math textbook or overcoming anxiety. That's a huge source of stress for many students. And so we have that chapter 0 so students can look at that content, and it provides an outlet for instructors to have those conversations with their students. All right, let's get into the student software. Before we do, I just want to remind you that you are welcome to use that Q&A tab throughout the entire session if you have any questions. When I log into Hawks via our website or through that LMS synchronization, I'm presented with this dashboard. So just to give you a little tour of the interface, everything is set up to be easy to use and clear where to find things. The buttons at the top do exactly what they say they're going to do. Grades, ebooks, discussion forums. We have the notification bell where students can see what items are due. And one of my favorite features of this is our messaging center. We have automated message reminders. And to tell you a story real quick, when I was teaching, I used a similar piece of courseware. I was a band director, so I used it to compile recordings. I would have an assignment due on Friday. Saturday, the late work would trickle in. And on Sunday, I would sit on my couch and spend a couple of hours watching an NFL game, writing emails to my students that hadn't completed the work yet. We have taken that entire process and automated it, meaning you write a message template, and then you get to determine when it gets sent out. Before an assignment is due, after assignment is due, both you're in control, and it's just one more way we try to serve you and take a little bit of that workload off your plate so you can focus on the students and the instruction. This drop-down menu has several resources for students. They can find some help here, training videos, and even access our live 24/7 live chat, where they'll get a live human being and average response time less than a minute. And we wanted to put this right in this drop-down menu so students wouldn't have to go far to find the resources and support that they need to be successful. Down here, I have my to-do list. By default, it's organized chronologically: due today, due within a week, due later. But just like everything I'm going to show you today, we have built it with adaptability and flexibility in mind, meaning you can make it what you need it to be to fit your course outcomes or the way that you have structured your course. So let's jump into a lesson. Each lesson presents students with our 3-mode learning path: learn, practice, and certify. And as a former band director, I took this exact same learning path to teach my students a new song. Students would learn notes and rhythms. They would have the opportunity to practice on their own with a set of learning tools. And then before that big high-stakes performance, they would come and demonstrate or certify their mastery to me. If they got it, great. If they didn't, they would get feedback, be sent to go practice again, and we would continue through this practice certify loop until we have reached our mutual goal of being prepared to be successful at that performance. That same pedagogical journey, that same path, is applicable to all disciplines, and I'm really excited about how we've implemented this in math. So first, let's start and learn. Learn is an interactive, multimedia-enriched version of the book materials designed with the web in mind. You'll notice as I navigate through the pages, each page is chunked where it just has the content that students will need to understand the topic at hand. You'll see that the examples are enriched with example level videos that show an actual instructor working through the problem in the book. That's to serve students who prefer to learn in a variety of different modalities. We also have lesson level videos, which are a short, under 10-minute lecture style overview of the lesson. As I go through and I zoom in, you'll notice that there's no loss of quality here in the graphics. That's because everything has been designed with accessibility in mind. We are WCAG 2.0 Divil A compliant. We meet accessibility standards, and everything that you see here is fully functioning, can be read by screen readers, including graphs. It is a wonderful experience, and we really think that education should be equally accessible regardless of any accommodations that a student may have. And we have taken great strides to ensure the integrity of the process. My favorite feature in the Learn mode are these Learn screen notes. Again, that adaptability piece, knowing that there is no such thing as two courses that need the exact same content. So we've given you the tools to make this flexible, to fit your needs. So what you see here is the top half of the page comes from the Hawks content. It's from the book. The bottom half allows you to replace pages, hide pages, or add content below the page, just like this. You can add YouTube videos, statistical simulations. It's very flexible. It has an HTML backend, so it can be as easy as just typing in your notes, or you can get as nuanced as you want. And that's why we have a wonderful team of training and support representatives who can help you transform your vision into reality. The practice mode seeks to build on all the knowledge that students gained from the Learn mode and tries to prepare them for success in Certify. And so they're going to see the exact same types of questions that they're eventually going to see in the Certify assignment, but they're going to have a set of learning aids here at the bottom. Tutor, send to instructor, skip, and try similar. You'll notice as I click try similar, I'm going to get different versions of the problem. Each problem has up to 50 different permutations. If I were a basketball player and I shot one free throw correctly, I would not be ready to go to the NBA. So we provide students with an outlet to be able to get lots of repetition, lots of practice on a concept, even if they were to get the question right. I can skip questions, meaning I can find that question that I know is giving me trouble. I can reference a tutor, which is going to give me a step-by-step explanation of how to solve the problem. I can also reference the Learn mode, the course materials, with the videos and other enrichments and enhancements. Or I can just look at the solution and look at the problem-solving process that I need to go through to solve the problem. And this allows me, the student, to have some autonomy, to have some agency, to have some adaptability for how much support I actually need in order to solve the problem. I might need to see it done in its entirety, or I might need just a little nudge in the right direction. And as the student, I get to make that call. You'll notice I have the correct answer here, and I can just try similar and see if I try again, see if I learned anything from looking at the solution. Let's look at this problem type, asking me to determine the domain and range for the following relation. So it's easy to imagine 18, 19-year-old student taking one of your 8 a.m. classes, shows up 20 minutes late, may miss a vital piece of information. So I may just have made a simple mistake like this. Now, I will note, if I were to try to actually type in the letter R here, it's going to tell me that the character I entered was not required. That is just one of the many things we do to try to make it where students aren't able to enter mathematically correct answers that are marked wrong. I hear that all the time, and we have taken many steps to ensure that students know exactly what format they're required to input their answers in. Now I submit this answer, and unsurprisingly, it tells me that I am wrong. There are many, many, many educators on our content team, and we lean on their years of classroom experience to determine those common areas where students struggle. So we have anticipated and diagnosed these common student errors in an attempt to give them specific feedback as to what they got wrong. So this is telling me that I confused the definitions, the domain and range, because I entered the reversed values. I can reference the definitions in case that was the area that I got mixed up on, or I can go reference that hint, the Learn mode, or the solution, again, so that I can get the exact level of support that I need. The reason we do this is when I was learning math, we did the worksheets with 30 something problems. And by the time I turn that worksheet in, I have done that same problem wrong 30 times. That error is now in my long-term memory. By providing just-in-time intervention and remediating right when the error was made, we stop those common misconceptions from getting embedded in a student's long-term memory. I found that to be very powerful, shortening that answer to feedback time. So after practice comes certify, which is our mastery-based assessment piece. It takes the place of homework. And you'll notice it looks nearly the exact same as practice. That's on purpose. The purpose of practice is to prepare students for certify. Now, the big difference you may notice is that all of my learning aids here are now gone, meaning that I am accountable for the learning and I have to prove to you and myself that I can actually complete the assignment without those supports, without those aids. I cannot tell you the number of times that I've heard that my students are doing the online homework and they have the show me how to do it embedded right in the homework. And so they use that as a crutch. It comes test time, those supports are no longer there, and the students don't perform well, which of course causes anxiety. So by scaffolding the learning tools as part of the learning process, we have provided students with a manner to be accountable to the learning so that you can ensure that assessment scores and their homework scores are truly tied together. So the way this works is there is a default set of questions, which you are free to customize at a default mastery level, default 80%. So the 20 questions at 80% means they get 4 strikes. On the 5th strike, or when this number hits 0, they'll leave the certify attempt, go back to practice, where they'll see questions that are based off of their misses in certify. So that's the adaptive remediation piece coming into play. After they've practiced, they'll come back into certify, try the problem set again, and anytime they get to that mastery threshold, default 80%, they get full credit, whether it's the first time or 10th time. And what that makes the homework is a low-stakes, penalty-free environment for them to learn from their mistakes and try to apply their learning. Just like when you're learning any new skill, riding a bike, you may fall, but that's fine because you're going to get the support on the other side to help you eventually be successful. And we have structured the learning process in Learn, Practice, Certify the exact same way. Back when I was a music teacher, I would never have a student play for me, miss 50% of the notes, and then look at them and go, Timmy, good luck at the performance next week. Instead, they'd get that feedback, be sent to go practice again, and we would work on it until it's right. Now, something you may hear in your classes is, what do I need to study? So we have provided students with a tool to be able to answer just that question. So they can create their own practice web tests. So let's create one. So I can title it Practice Exam 3 here. I can add some lessons, determine how many questions. Probably don't want too many today. And then the time limit I have. And the courseware will generate a test that looks exactly like the same test that you could make in the platform. So you can see I can hide my time here, answer questions. I can even navigate through these questions. And then once I reach the end of the assignment, I submit. And as the student, I will receive a set of data and analytics to help guide my own study practice. So we'll see here, we'll pretend the gray is green, that I got the unanswered problems correct. I can see in 5.2 and 5.3 that I'm good to go. But in 5.1, I missed half the problems. So I can just click onto here and be sent straight to a practice session where I can work on those skills that I wasn't quite so confident in. Just another way that we have given students the autonomy and agency and adaptability to be able to chart their own course to mastery and success in your class. All right, so That was the student side. Let's take a look at some of the tools available to the instructor. First thing I want to point out when I log into my instructor view here is that I can freely switch from instructor view to student view. So as I build out my course, I can actually click on my student dashboard to see what my students are actually seeing. So let's click in to my class right here. And what I really want to show today is how easy it is to get up and running. So let's pretend for a second I'm an adjunct instructor. I have a course coordinator that's already set up the course for me. So let's see exactly how quick I can get set up. So I can go 1 click, 2 clicks, 3 clicks, 4 to add a new section. Go ahead and name it here. 5, 6 to apply a course template that has already been set up, and you'll notice everything else populates. And I save my changes, and then in under 10 clicks, I think that was 8, I am set up and ready to go. Now, if I were setting up a course for the very first time, I would actually only have one more thing left to do, and that is assign some lessons. So I'm just going to go in here to assignments, lesson due dates. You'll see the course I just created and some of the templates. And I can come in here and just click. 2 clicks, I've assigned a lesson. I've assigned another one. Now, let's say school got canceled, snow day. We just had the system come through, so we may have missed a couple days. So I just can come in here, click on that assignment, and now I have shifted every assignment here by a week. So I can easily come in and shift my due dates around. The goal of this is to get you up and running as quickly as we can so that you can, again, spend your time on what's important, the students. Now, at this point, I have my course set up. If I need a little extra help, I can reference this help tab, or I can visit our help and support center. I can visit a help guide where I can search for what I need. I can view student training resources. And this is also where I would go to access those PowerPoints and those projects that we have. So you can see all of the student projects that I have, all of my PowerPoints available to me as the instructor. Now, let's pretend I have my course set up, and now I want to get a little bit into the weeds. I really want to customize the experience. As the instructor, you have the adaptability, the flexibility to be able to get the course up and running in very few number of clicks, or curate a custom experience for your students. So here's what I mean when I say that. I have my templates again, and I can adjust the mastery level for any individual lesson, all the lessons at the same time. I can require practice after a certain number of attempts and certify. I can share my work with other instructors, and I can also come in here and edit my assignments. So what you're going to see is on the right side is the pre-built default assignment for each lesson that Hawks has built. And on the left side, you'll see the entirety of our question bank organized by chapter and lesson. And I can very easily go through and evaluate questions. And if there's a question I don't like, I can remove them. And I can look at other questions. I can even collapse this and take a look at the 54 questions we have available in this lesson. And I might want an application question here. I actually might want a couple application questions. So I can go ahead and add those to my assignment. And I can sort the order that the students see it in, and I can be really deliberate about the way I deliver this assignment. But I think what I want to show today is that this is a way that you can really get in there and create a custom experience. You can even author your own questions, and the question builder tool, very powerful, has a complex set of features that's actually quite easy to use. You can go in and create the tutors that you see. You can create that explain error feedback. You can really get in there and make it be exactly what you need. And again, we have that training and support team that's available to help you every step of the way if you have a question that you know that you want to get programmed into the system. You can also create tests and exams in the platform using that same comprehensive question bank. The last thing I wanted to outline today are the reporting, the data and analytics features that are available to instructors. So we have a couple of key reports up here, and then many more reports down here, meaning if there is a particular insight that you want to have into your students' performance, chances are we've already have a report for it. Come in here to my all student scores, which would be sort of the traditional gradebook view where I can see my students' performance in the class. I can expand up here and see for each student, have they completed the assignment? Has it been completed late? Is it still past due? I can come in and edit due dates. I can edit scores, or I can review the students' attempts. The detailed students' grades is a similar report, but it's on a per student basis, useful if you know that a student is coming in for office hours and you just want to get ahead of that conversation and take a look at their performance before they walk in your office. Oftentimes with these large classes and lots of assignments, it's really hard to pour over that Excel view of the gradebook. So we have given you a report to be able to filter your gradebook. And the best part is you can save your filters. So I have a filter already saved here called Need to Help. And it shows me all of my students with a C or less that haven't logged in for 5 days. I can just run that filter and I find my one student who meets that criteria and I can send them a message. I can also filter with grades in a particular assignment group, either the homework, quizzes, tests, or by time spent in the platform. Very powerful way to instantly get that student data that I need to guide remediation efforts. Final report I want to show is our assignment reviewer. So what I'm seeing right here is a lesson by lesson breakdown of how my students are turning in work. So the green is completed on time, yellow is done late, orange is overdue. And I can see as a class, what are we spending in learn, practice, and certify? So how much time are we spending in the 3 modes? I can click on a lesson and now expand that view on a per student basis. Now we are FERPA compliant, so these are obviously not real students, but I can look here and I can just single out, I can see Eric here has attempted 4 times, but has not spent any time in learn or practice. So I can preventatively go to Eric and initiate that conversation. So I'm not coming up afterwards, after that poor test performance and trying to have that conversation about what went wrong and then find out at that point that Eric hasn't been looking at the book and hasn't been practicing at all. I can proactively approach these issues before they come up. And I can actually come in here and look at all of Eric's attempts, and I can even single one out and look question by question what Eric submitted, what question he got, and how long he actually took to answer each question. I can even access the same explain error feedback that he should have seen while working through the assignment. Very powerful way to have those conversations and review work together. So at this point, that's our 30,000-foot overview of what the Hawks approach is and how we approach mastery and data and analytics on the back end. Let's take it to some questions and answers. So I have a question here. What happens if a student puts in an answer and Hawks doesn't know exactly what they did wrong? What does that feedback look like? So they are, well, you know what? Let's take a look at that. So I'm going to pull my student side back up. And we are just going to go in and put a ridiculous answer, there is no way any educator would be able to figure out how a student got to this answer. And I am going to get some generic feedback, but it's going to try to orient me and point me into the right direction as to the common areas where students would typically get stuck. And I'm even going to get some properties that I might keep in mind. So it's going to outline the 2 things that I would need to know to be able to approach the problem right. So even if the student didn't put in a logical answer, they're still going to get some sort of feedback that helps point them in the right direction, helps orient them to get them back on track. We also have $10 gift cards available if students identify any mistakes in the software. I, in my personal experience, have never had that come up, but we are very proud of the robustness of the courseware, of the system, and the accuracy of the questions and answers. And so we do offer that if a student is able to find a mathematically correct answer that's marked wrong. Another question here. You had mentioned the chapter projects and applications in the guided notebooks. Could those be embedded in Learn Mode 2, or are those just in the guided notes? Those are just in the guided notes, but if you really wanted, the chapter projects are PDFs, and so we could find a way to take the content from those and embed them into your particular Learn screens, or fashion that into an assignment that you would like. So that is an option, that you can embed that into the course structure if that is the way you would like to do it. Again, that adaptability is forefront in our minds. So we want to be able to set up the system where if you want this particular content to be somewhere, we're certainly happy to facilitate those discussions and ask those questions of where exactly do you want it and how do you want this to look, so we can help bring those visions into reality. All right. Well, we are just about getting to the end of the session. I don't see any more questions here. And I think we have some drawings to do. So we definitely want to save a couple of minutes for that, so that we can get you off and on your way. Again, I really appreciate you guys joining me today. It has been a pleasure to get to talk about this. And if you have any further questions or want to see how this might look for your specific courses, the Hawks team is in our exhibit booth. We would love for you to swing by and have a conversation and talk about what this might look like for you in your class with your students and how we can make a difference. Again, thank you for coming, and I wish you a wonderful rest of the summit.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. So as Austin said, it looks like we're really close to the end of our time. We do want to get to those giveaways. So first, I want to say a quick thank you to Austin for all the valuable information that you shared. And thank you for everyone who attended. Really do appreciate you attending this today. And now it's time for the giveaways. So each winner will receive a $25 Amazon gift card, and we'll get started right here. All right. Our first winner today is Raina. Congratulations. All right. Our second winner today. Good. Congratulations. All right. And our third winner for this session Kathleen, congratulations. All right, so the next concurrent sessions will begin at 12 p.m. Eastern time. You can view the chat for the session meeting room links, or to access the conference website for a complete list of the concurrent sessions and their descriptions. Now, while accessing the conference website, please do not forget to swing by the virtual exhibit hall and say hello to the Hawks team. You can view a quick 5-minute demonstration and request your t-shirt and be entered to win one of our hourly giveaways, which are your choice of a $50 Amazon gift card, Ticketmaster gift card, or Barnes & Noble gift card. Also, in the spirit of St. Patrick's Day, you'll find a few golden coins hidden throughout the conference website. Clicking on these coins will allow you to be entered in to win an additional raffle. We look forward to seeing you all at the next sessions.